Here we go again. Look at the steam. I'm trying to get a clear vision. Yeah, you see how I cleared up? Listen, the banga what will I say, consistency now is boiling, and you can see the oil. This is what eventually boils down and you have oil. All this water will boil down. But because we are making soup today, the oil, is not supposed to boil down. Now, we are adding our ingredient. The first thing she added, I don't know the name of this ingredient. Look at this. I don't know what it is. If you know what it is, tell me. We'll put it in soup. Let me know the name. And then what she has is crayfish. You see, we are in Yaji's Emerald Kitchen, so she'll be telling us.
I'm putting crayfish.
Okay.
Put it generously.
Generously. Listen. In America, they say Nigerians have too many ingredients in that. That's what makes it sweet.
This is the Banga mixed spice.
Okay, so guys. You see that? So nowadays, we have the spice already bottled.
We also have one that they have not...
okay, let's show you what they have not blended together.
See?
So
these are some of the...
You have this. I think they call this Uda. I don't know. But then you have the smaller one. What's this? Is this Ukwe? No?
No.
What is that? I think this is the seed that comes out of this too. But these are pepper soup ingredients. These are pepper soup ingredients that you put in it. Look at this. The back is off. And this. So all of these are blended to have, to come out looking like this. So you have your ingredients already mixed. Now they have a lot of companies that are, this is another thing again. I think that is the black pepper. You don't know? Oh, she doesn't know. If you know, guys, if you know, you know. If you know, let us know. But everything has been mixed together. And of course, she's going to also put it generously. See that? These are all our ingredients boiling together. At what point do you add the... Okay, now we have fish.
But we are not putting it now because it's already soaked.
Yes, it's already
soaked. So when the soup is almost cooked, we add it.
You know why you don't add your fish? Because fish is very tender. It goes in there and, scatters in the soup. And you can't find your fish again. You'll be like, I put some fish in this soup, but I can't find it. That's because everything broke in the soup. So fish is almost like the last thing to put in your soup. In every soup you cook in Africa, or in Nigeria, I can't say Africa now. Fishes, except you are cooking a fisherman soup or whatever. But even with that, you still have to put the seafood almost last because they overboil and they break up. Now we have our beef. You see that? We have our beef still cooking. By the time we are ready, we'll be adding everything together. And then, you see, I've washed my palm kernel. I've removed all the oil. You see how clean it is now? I'm going to take this outside and I dry it. And then we have the starch. Can you bring the starch? I want to show the starch in two ways. Okay. Now, this is starch, right? But when we got it, okay. No, I see some on the bottom. Okay.
This is how it was?
Yeah. You see, this is hard. This is how it was, right? So I put it in water to melt it. If you let the starch settle, when it settles, it becomes hard. Starch is normally a hard thing anyway. So you mix it in water to get the consistency, not necessarily of akamu, because akamu is too light. But when it's time to knead this starch, of course, we are going to video it. Starch is eaten mostly by the urobos, the shakiris, and the jaws. They eat, but Urobo people eat a lot of isoko. This is the starch. So we have it already soaked in water. I don't know if my kids are going to be eating this starch, so it might just be me and some other people in the house. And it's good to soak your starch. Just like every other thing might have sand in it, because the process of doing these things in Nigeria are locally done. So it's good for you when you get your starch hard, put it in water, soak it, and get rid of the bottom, which I have done already. So stay tuned, we'll be back again. Yeah, guys, as you can see, we are adding the meat. We use the beef this time, there's no chicken. We are adding it in. You can see the consistency of the banga. It has actually really boiled down. It's beginning to look like the African soup. We have added it now. We're going to let it sit and boil again. And then we'll be adding the fish.
Yes. It's almost ready.
It's almost ready.
Getting it.
Patience, patience. You have to be patient to eat the right, kind of food. Yes, it's time for the starch, Robowado. I hope we didn't put too much oil. We have to do it right. We have to do it right. This is how they do starch. So I showed you the consistency. We have it in the pot now. You have to be close to the fire because the starch, it depends on the heat. It depends on how it's heating up. But the starch immediately begins to form. Of course, the oil will not look like this when it forms. It is the oil in the starch that makes the starch look orange. It is the oil, so you now know what makes that starch look orange. Because the color of starch is actually white. Remember, cassava is a white produce. So when you, do you even ferment cassava to get? You don't, you just grind, right? It's gari that gets fermented. But starch, you just grind and you sieve the starchy part from the shaft and you throw it away. And so this is how the Yoruba people do starch. I'm so excited to do this because guess what? I've not eaten this food forever. I've not eaten it forever. I'm sure they have starch in America because Yoruba people will always find a way. This is their mainstay. Yoruba man know they do without starch. So I know they must have a way of getting starch in America, but this is my way. This is the time I'm going to taste it. Let me show you guys the soup. See, oh man, see this soup now, see how it cleared. There's banga. Now, what leaf did you put in the soup?
Bitter leaf.
She put a little bit of bitter leaf in the soup. And ugu in the soup to give it, a certain kind of taste. So this is how your banga soup would look like. Let me go back to the starch because guess what? The starch is thickening up. So you see, that is why starch is yellow, or will I say orange? You think it's too thick? Should we add some water?
Not too thick.
It's not too thick? Or the pot is too big? Are you sure it's not too thick?
Let's add water.
Let's put a little bit of water in it so that it will cook a bit and then we'll knead it again. So we'll put a little bit of water in it so that we can make it a little lighter. Yoruba people. Is this how starch is done? Of course. Don't be scared because it will all come together again. It's because of the water. It will come together again. Man, I'm going to eat starch and banga soup. But the Yoruba people, they put isam and what else? They put isam and fish, of course. Put some seafood in it. If you eat this food for Yoruba man hand, you yourself, you're going to say you chop food. You're going to say you chop food. Let me hold it for you. See, the starch is coming together. See that? Even with the water in it. Maybe if we had used the frying pan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we would have used the
Or a
frying
gas
pan.
pot.
Or a cast pot, yeah. But don't worry, we are going to scoop all those edges. And we are going to eat our starch. So those of you that like African food, this is something that you don't really see in the US because you see all the process. The palm kernel, I don't know if it grows in Florida. The starch is gotten from cassava. So it's a little bit of process, but here we are, here we are. Now, in order to eat starch, you have to know how to cut it. Eh? There is a way you turn your hand and cut your starch. If not, you see how the starch is going with the wooden spoon? That's how the starch will be going with your hand. I will show you how starch is cut. So thank you guys. When it's time for me to eat, you see how I'm going to eat this food. Finger licking. This is Yaji's kitchen. Say something. See, she has made starch for us today. Somebody was asking me where the place is. I told them, no, don't come to my house. So thank you, Yaji's kitchen.
You're welcome.
Bless you. My food is ready. Of course, it's tied up. But I want to show you how they cut starch. You know, as children, we didn't know how to eat this food. There is a way you form your hand. You use the side of your hand to cut your starch. You go like this. And on the plate. If you don't do that, you will not... Look at me struggling with the starch. You cut the starch. It's very, gummy. Let me do it again. You use the side of your hand. You press it on the plate. You see that? That's the way starch is done. And the soup is yummy. I'm not showing you my face. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.